Now in the previous video we have learned about the rigid body, collider body and their bounciness and friction. Now we are going to talk about what is gravity in the scene and how we can manipulate the time of that animation. Okay, so gravity is not in the rigid body and dynamic tag, but it's actually present in your scene by default. So to manipulate that we need to go to the project settings. So shortcut key is Control D. So now it will open the project settings, and in project settings you will find this option known as dynamics, and in general you will get this option known as gravity. So right now it's 1000 centimeter, and more you increase the value of this, for example if I add one more zero and then if I hit play, as you guys can see the gravity is a little bit fast, and if I make this 1000, the gravity will be like this. Then there is another option known as time scale. For example, let's do one thing. I'll select this plane and I'll hit delete like this. And let's do one thing, go to the cube. I'll select go to the move graph, and I'll select my cloner. I'll select this cube and I'll move inside this cloner like this. Let's select this cloner, go to the object, and instead of linear I'm going to choose grid array. Increase the size from here and go to the top view, let's say, and increase the size from here. Okay, and select this and let's move this over here and increase the size. And now another thing we'll do, we will create one plane like this, and we will increase it like this and move it like this. Okay, and let's bring this downwards. So now we have three objects in our scene. So obviously this is going to be the collider. So select this, right click, I'll go to the simulation tag and I'll choose collider body. Okay, so obviously if we hit play, this will act as a collider body. And now if I select this cloner, right click, go to the simulation tag, and if I choose rigid body, and now if I hit play, it will act like a rigid body. But if you see over here, not each and every individual inside this cloner is acting like a rigid body, but this entire cloner is acting like a one object. So but I don't want that. So either there are two steps. You can select this rigid body tag, and you can apply this to cloner, I mean this cube, and now if you hit play, each and everyone is going to act like a rigid body. And then otherwise you can apply this to cloner. You can select this and you can go over here and apply tag to children. So now if you hit play, you will get different results. And individual elements right now it's off, and choose all. So if you hit play now if you see, because we have applied tag to children and individual element should be all, so that's why each and every individual inside this cloner, or suppose even if there is a null object instead of cloner and there are too many objects, you can simply apply this tag to that null object, and you can create something like that. For example, let's do one thing, let's delete this cube. I'll select this cloner and I'll press C on my keyboard. So now what will happen, that this is one null object, and inside that there are this cubes, because we have created C, which means editable object. Now this cloner is one null object and there are so many cubes, and now it's really difficult to apply one tag to all of this. So for that, what we can do, simply select this cloner, right click, go to the simulation tag and apply rigid body. I'll apply tag to children and all. So now this one thing is applied to all of this object because of these two options are enabled. Okay, so this is just a basic concept. Now if you see this over here, this is actually a little bit weird, because I want to make this object a little bit heavier. So that's where our density comes in play. Now if I can select this sphere, I can select this rigid body, and over here you will get this option known as mass. Okay, so right now it's world density, but if I select this and if I choose custom density, right now density is 1. So that's why this will act like this. So from animation itself we can understand this ball is not very much heavy. But if I make this 10, let's say, and now if I hit play, I'll get different results. As you guys can see, the ball is heavy. And now suppose if I make this 100, let's say, and now if I hit play, I'll get this kind of stuff. So from this thing we can understand that this is depends on density, how much your object is going to be heavier. Okay, so this is for the density options. And now I'll hit Control D. Let's select this and let's do not make this density too much. Let's say 50 maybe. And if I hit play, I'll get this kind of animation. And if I hit Control D, I can increase the gravity value up to 3000. And if we hit play now, we will get this animation a little bit faster. But I want this animation in slow. So what I can do over here, you will get this option known as time scale. Now it is 50, I mean 100. If I make this, let's say 30, and now if I hit play, I'll get my animation something like this. I'll get physics accurately according my density settings and other settings, but my animation will little bit slower. So this type of option is useful when you want to create something like this. For example, if I select this object, I'll move this over here like this, so it will look like it's coming from too much height. Let's say from here, and I'll hit Control D. I'll go to the start and I'll make this let's say 100. I'll create one keyframe. I'll go few frame forward, and this point, let's say I'm going to create one keyframe. I'll go one frame forward, and now I'm going to make it 20, and then I'll create keyframes. Actually these keyframes you cannot see in timeline over here like this. So now if I hit play, I'll get this kind of slowliness because we have applied a keyframes to the time scale. So that's the use of gravity, time scale, and density.